If you haven't watched the first episode, here's a little recap. We were on tour with Indian Motorcycle Owners Group. Our idea was to ride along the Golden Quadrilateral, reaching out to NGOs who work for girl child education. In episode 1, we traveled all day to reach Jodhpur from Delhi, and the very next day we started for Jaisalmer. A cow charged at me and knocked me down, but both me and my pillion were okay, and we reached Jaisalmer and joined the party. At the party, we got an invitation from an army officer to visit the Jaisalmer War Museum the next day.
All the arrangements for your welcoming at the Jaisalmer military station has been catered by us. I look forward to hosting you at the military station tomorrow morning.
Ever since independence, Pakistan has had the backing from the United States. And with that backing, they've often waged war against India. But they have failed due to the might of the Indian Army. Today, the US knows Pakistan to be a sponsor of terrorism, and India is an ally. But back during those days, Atalji had said a few words.
एक नहीं दो नहीं करो 20 समझौते पर स्वतंत्र भारत का मस्तक नहीं झुकेगा। अगणित बलिदानों से अर्जित यह स्वतंत्रता, अगणित बलिदानों से अर्जित यह स्वतंत्रता, श्वेत शोणित से सिंचित यह स्वतंत्रता, त्याग तेज तप बल से रक्षित यह स्वतंत्रता, दुखी मनुजता के हित अर्पित यह स्वतंत्रता। इसे मिटाने की साजिश करने वालों से कह दो चिनगारी का खेल बुरा होता है। इसे मिटाने की साजिश करने वालों से कह दो चिनगारी का खेल बुरा होता है। औरों के घर आग लगाने का जो सपना वह अपने ही घर में सदा खड़ा हो। अमरीकी शस्त्रों से अपनी आजादी को दुनिया में कायम रख लोगे यह मत समझो। 10-20 अरब डॉलर लेकर आने वाली बर्बादी से तुम बच लोगे ये मत समझो। धमकी जिहाद के नारों से हथियारों से कश्मीर कभी हथिया लोगे यह मत समझो। हमलों से अत्याचारों से संहारों से भारत का शीश झुका लोगे यह मत समझो।
The Indian Army also guards the Siachen Glacier, which is the world's highest battlefield. Polaris, the parent company of Indian Motorcycles, supplies some snowmobiles to the army at Siachen. One guy from Polaris was there with us, and he recounted his experience of losing 6 kg of weight when he was just there for a week to check out the snowmobiles operation. The things we take for granted often come at a great cost, but we didn't win these wars just by grit alone. The Indian Army has cannons and tanks at its disposal, and next up we went to see the tanks. The same machines that had wreaked havoc to Pakistan Army stood right in front of us in all glory, and it was a moment of pride for all of us. But the day's activities were only starting. The desert heat was a bit too much for me in my riding gear, but we had to move on to the school, which was the main event for the day. While the speeches were going on inside, I suddenly felt immensely dehydrated and moved outside to find some cold drink. Met this nice guy at the school who just was asking me about our charitable activities. We told him everything. And now he's giving me a lift on his motorcycle, and we're going over to get some cold drink. 600 ka due do. Even the kids came out to check out the bikes. One girl climbed up onto my motorcycle, and I started the engine up for a bit, and when she twisted the throttle and felt all of that V-twin engine rumble underneath her, you should have seen the expression on her face. This is what we feel all the time on the open road, and that is why we ride motorcycles. despite the risks. It had been a great day, and honestly, I just wanted to get back to the hotel and catch a small nap. But visiting Rajasthan and not going in the middle of the desert isn't completing the experience. Polaris also has an ATV experience zone right in the middle of the desert. It was quite dark by the time we reached there. The ATV ride didn't go so well, but coming out of the area, I heard some local folk music. If you've been to a desert at night, it's awfully quiet. There's no lights around, there are no buildings around, and all of our focus was on the dance performance. Reaching back to the hotel, we saw that there was another party going on, but we checked out the artwork at the lobby and just hung out there as it was our last night at the beautiful RWR. We joined the party late but left pretty early. And just when we were about to settle down for a good night's sleep, we heard something quite unbelievable outside. So it's been an eventful day here in Jaisalmer, and today is our last day here. And they say this is in the middle of the Thar desert, so it doesn't rain here. But we were here for only a couple of days and we got to experience rain in the Thar desert. So this is something I wanted to share with you guys. Really love the way the water droplets are touching my skin right now. So experienced rain in desert. That's all I can say. And just like that, 3 days had passed. We've had so little time to talk to the other riders, to listen to their stories, and to focus on how they created this great initiative. But it was a long ride and we were just getting started. Today's plan was to ride with the group and the entire group. So some of them have actually left. On the previous 2 days, we couldn't ride with the group. So the plan that day was to ride with all the riders and reach the destination safe and sound. Ahmedabad was just 535 kilometers away. I thought it would be an easy ride. And mostly, I was right. But a couple of issues popped up, and if they didn't, we probably would have no story to tell. Cruising early morning was a breeze, but then Shruti's bike stalled. So we had actually gone a little bit ahead, but then Shruti stopped, U-turned the bike, came back. I think we have a situation with fuel. I just make sure. What's the issue?
I don't know, bike stop.
Do you have fuel?
हाँ तो बस हम 120 पे होंगे, मतलब 10 किलोमीटर तुमको चलना पड़ेगा, हम रास्ते पे ही। कहाँ तक पहुँचे?
तो हाँ।
I didn't show any error, like warning sign and all like usually comes like your warning sign.
Yeah, my bike is running with.
Fuel is there, it's in reserve.
No, don't put the self, बैठ जाएगा।
No, the fuel. You don't have fuel. You don't have fuel. You don't have fuel. You don't. Trust me, you don't. We concluded that it was probably a case of just running out of fuel. Luckily, the Indian motorcycle support car was right behind us and they managed the situation very effectively.
Steam से चल रही है।
Alright, a little bit of update on the situation. Tulsi is coming back with a pipe and we took that pipe out of that Innova. So Now the plan is to get
See the best
fuel
idea.
out.
Best idea if you miss to fill the fuel.
The Scout has a mileage of 17 kilometers per liter, and with the tank capacity, it has a range of around 200 kilometers, and sometimes if ridden hard, the mileage drops and you can run out of fuel. Anyways, they transferred some fuel from Tulasi's bike back onto Shruti's bike. As soon as Shruti's issue was resolved, we were back on the highway, but then my bike developed a small snag. Again, the Indian motorcycle support crew came to the rescue, and while we had breakfast, they prepared my bike for the rest of the journey. I would take a moment here to thank Abhishek and Umesh for the amazing support that they provided for me and all the other riders all throughout the trip. I was expecting Rajasthan to be hot, but I guess Gujarat took the cake there. The heat was rising by the hour. My Dynasty Super Rider D-Tri jacket flows in a ton of air, but even then the temperature was becoming unbearable.
Well, bigger bike doesn't matter because we're gonna go anyways.
And right then something unfortunate happened.
An accident, some guy just came randomly inside onto the motorcycle. It's a bad situation.
A local rider drove his motorcycle right onto Harsh's bike. The Roadmaster is a 480 kilograms motorcycle on two wheels. Even with the impact, the damage was minimum. He didn't even fall over. Even my bike had survived the crash very easily. The build quality of these motorcycles reminded me of the tanks back on Jaisalmer.
And he got hit by the Roadmaster. That's a big bike. So the Roadmaster is probably damaged.
Anyways, this wasted a lot of time. Luckily, the locals did not blame us, and again with the help of the Indian motorcycle support crew, the bike was taken out of there and his motorcycle was completely in riding condition. Finally, when we were back on the road, I wanted to continue for a few hundred kilometers, but again it was time for the lunch break. In another way, I was a little happy to step out of the scorching sun.
Hey, I like Monster more, but you know.
Inside the hotel, Niladrida shared a bit of his personal life, and it was the first time that strangers were becoming slowly like friends. I have to be honest, because of my filmmaking, I often miss out on the human interaction. But when I pack the camera in the bag, is when I get some awesome conversations. Since we were riding in the group, I wanted to click some good photos of all the riders, so we resumed that right after lunch. If you're one of the few people watching this video who rides long distance or even drives long distance, I have a small advice for you. Don't eat too much at a time, especially at lunch, because it makes you sleepy. And sometimes that can be way too dangerous, even more so than riding over the prescribed speed limit. I found myself stuck behind a few very drowsy riders. Niladrida usually maintains a fast pace ahead, so the rest of the group was getting separated. I overtook the other riders and found that Niladrida had stopped, and he was even complaining about us slowing down behind him.
Cattle, the most common issue with us on this ride. Check out the horns on those things. Killer materials, weapons of mass destruction. So I mean a little bit of stopover. हाँ बहुत स्लो चल रहा है.
My brain has a clock inside and it's always ticking. And right then I was sure that we will not make it by daylight. I wanted to move ahead and just wait for them to catch up so that we can get an amazing flyby shot. But that never happened. We waited and waited, but nobody showed up. and finally we decided to move on. I later learned that they stopped for photos with the locals.
Wherever we go, these bikes get amazing attention. 10 lakh, 12 lakh, 12 lakh. Finally. That was the main right turn. If we missed that, we'd be screwed, but it's very well written here. We have to go right to reach Ahmedabad, which is our final destination for today. And it's 4:43, which means close to 5, which means we have, I think, a couple of more hours of daylight, beyond which it would again be riding in the dark, which is not what I prefer because I have to drop speed and everything, even if the road condition is good, and that usually wastes a lot more time. So that is why, I hate wasting time early morning or late in the afternoon, or even all through the daylight hours, basically, because that's when we can be on the highway and do the speeds that would otherwise be unsafe.
Left to myself, I somewhat become like a machine. There was still over 250 kilometers left, and I did it non-stop with only one break for mandatory refueling.
Fuel stop. So only about 120 kilometers left for Ahmedabad. We're well on course. We still have an hour of daylight left, so it would probably be 1 hour of riding after the dark, which is fine. We just don't want to waste too much time now. Head over straight. The highway is looking good. There's a little bit of traffic, so can't do too fast, but it's going to work out, I guess. We are in Ahmedabad and we're doing some B roads right now, and only about 20 kilometers left. The bike has a low ground clearance, so these speed breakers are a pain in the, you know what I mean.
Before we knew it, the signs of the hotel appeared right in front of our eyes. The Fern was one of the best hotels in our entire trip.
Finally, we arrived at the Fern. Very nice. Good evening. Beautiful. Yes, hello. Hi. Rahul Majumdar and Shumit Vishwas. Sir, I request you to open. Yeah, I will.
The Fern was one of the best hotels in our entire trip. Small and compact and yet equally cozy. Our stop there was minimum as we had to head to the Indian motorcycle dealership the next day. It takes us 40 hours in front of the screen to edit one film, but it'll take you only 4 seconds to hit that subscribe button and turn on that alarm bell, which is right next to it. If you do that, you will get to know when I upload the episode 3. I'm working very hard on it, and I hope to see you when I upload it.